Welcome to CareyBrosPros, the podcast for construction pros by construction pros, because good information is always the best tool in the bag. Now, here are James and Morris Carey.
Yep, we are professional contractors and brothers. I'm so glad to have you back with us here on CareyBrosPros. I'm Morris.
And I'm James, and are we excited because today we're recording this episode of CareyBrosPros from the Remodeling Show and Deck Expo. It's in Baltimore, Maryland, and joining us now is Joanne Theunissen, and she is chair of the NAHB, that's short for National Association of Home Builders, Remodelers. That's the Remodeling Council within the National Association of Home Builders. Joanne, great to have you with us here at the Remodeling Show, Deck Expo, and as our guest on CareyBrosPros.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
You know, Joe, you're also the owner of a certified green builder with Howling Hammer Builders based in Michigan?
Yes, I am, in the central counties of Michigan.
What is a certified green builder? Tell me what that is.
Well, there is a certification, a designation program that runs through NAHB that trains building professionals on the aspects of green building. So the technologies involved, as well as some of the marketing aspect of helping homeowners understand green building, the rationale for why to go ahead and do it.
Right.
Because there's been so much greenwashing in the industry, in the media, and where we've gone with commercial, that it's hard for homeowners to really understand what that even means.
Well, there are many reasons to go green. As an example, it could be one of being altruistic.
Yes.
And being environmentally conscious, and that you just want to do your part to help save the earth. Another example might be where you can generate lead points that will help you get more of something like natural light and glazing in exchange for things that you're doing, where you're doing water efficiency or other climate control measures. Yes, am I going in the right direction?
Yes, and there's that high performance aspect that comes with a green built home. So I'm from Michigan, cold weather climate.
Yes.
And we are also, the automotive capital of the United States.
Yes, you are.
So our clients tend to really understand that concept of high performance. So I'm building the Shelby Mustang of homes. I've got that house that really performs well.
Right.
And so you're touching on all the energy efficiency aspects, so the home costs less to use. It's also more comfortable to live in because everything's balanced properly, unlike commercial spaces where you're always cold.
Yeah. You know what?
The air conditioning's wrong.
I think green building is a win-win-win situation.
It is.
I think it's a win for the builder. I think it's a win for the consumer, and I think it's a win for the planet. So I'm glad you're doing that. Now, I want to circle back for just a minute.
Okay.
And we talked about the NAHB, and what most people may not know is that the NAHB is one of the country's most powerful organizations, and that when the NAHB talks, Washington listens.
That's true. That's true. And I think we have a very recent example of that. As your listeners know, we're dealing with some significant shortages and challenges related to lumber.
Right.
And the administration had been very slow to renegotiate and to have any discussion about that. And the CEO for NAHB, Jerry Howard, had been quoted, and he was interviewed by some of the Canadian broadcasting people, and had basically spoken to the fact that we're seeing a shortage that can't be explained. And we're seeing price increases that can't be explained. I don't know if you've noticed, but we are now starting to see some release in some of those shortages, and we're seeing some change in the pricing. After the tariffs were first impacted in Michigan, probably about 60% of our softwood lumber came from Canada. So now we're looking to American suppliers. So we're probably getting more stuff out of the Carolinas. But we were seeing like a 45% increase in the cost of our softwood lumber. And not only was that the problem? Just the availability of good lumber. I'm seeing a lot of dimensional stuff that's got bark, a lot of stuff that you can tell was certainly milled young because of the way it twists and carries on.
Yeah.
We've seen some improvement. I mean, we're still not there yet.
Okay.
But it's getting better.
So we've got NAHB as the voice of the
Yes.
building industry, and
Yes.
you've discussed that and some of the benefits, and there are many more than we can chat about.
Right.
But let's drill down just a moment, and let's get to what you're involved with and the NAHB Remodelers.
Okay.
What's the mission?
Well, the mission is to provide quality education that is also relevant to what's going on, to help our members improve their level of professionalism. We offer an awful lot of education related to business practices because we have an awful lot of members who are really good with the hands-on stuff,
Right.
but they put themselves out of business because they don't understand business management.
Understood.
So that's a real important part of what we do. It's a networking opportunity that allows us the opportunity to meet and discuss issues with other remodelers who are outside of our own target market. So you never feel like I can't share a secret because you're not building in my market, so
Right.
let's talk. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest advantages to being a member of Remodelers.
Wonderful.
I don't like this question. I don't like this question at all.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you why. This was written by someone else. If I'm a small contractor, why should I worry about federal issues such as tariffs on Chinese imports?
Because when you're smaller, it cuts into your profit margin so heavy as opposed to bigger guys. It's kind of like the Walmart versus, the small mom and pop retail place.
Right.
I don't agree with that.
Oh,
I don't agree with that at all. I think that we have to pay more as Americans to live better as Americans. And the more we buy from the Chinese,
that's true.
the less money comes into our economy and the harder it is for Americans to live. And that's why I don't like this question, and that's why I don't like the standard answer. I don't want Chinese products in the United States. I want American products in the United States.
That's true.
The Chinese can take care of the Chinese, and if the Chinese want to import, they should import, and we should pay either extra to them or more to us Americans.
Which is true.
If
But
we pay more to the Chinese, we will have better pay as Americans. And we need to get used to paying more rather than $2 an hour factory workers who work for 20 cents a day or $2 a day. I don't want their product.
Do you agree?
I agree on that part, on the import.
Yes.
But what concerns me is where we're going with export.
Okay.
I think while we're looking to protect our industry and our industrial market, I think it's important that manufacturers and suppliers are looking to make sure that I've got the lumber I need
The
to be
trade
able to build my house.
the trade deficit is in the courts of everyone else in the world. Our president is bringing the trade deficit back to where it was when I was a young worker, when I had opportunities that workers today don't have. There are plenty of opportunities in technology, but there are no opportunities in the United States for the American tradesman. And I'm a worker on behalf of the American tradesman, and I want to see the American tradesman get the money, not some 25-cent an hour Chinese guy. And that's all there is to it. And when the trade deficit is equal between the United States and the rest of the world, we will have the most powerful nation in the world again, as we did when I was growing up, not giving it away to everyone in the United States. And I think that's terribly important.
It is.
And I need people like you in high places to know that there are people like me in the United States who are willing to pay more for American products.
And we have to make sure that we have the trained workforce.
I
which
don't
is
care how
one of
cheap a home can be.
I'm not talking about cheap. I don't want cheap. I want well-built, and I want decent product going into my homes.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to accept substandard product
That's
for
right.
my homes.
I agree with that. And we Americans have always been the people in the world who built the best products that money can buy.
Yes.
When we get paid and when somebody's not trying to move all of the steel out of the United States to Japan and China to build our bridges at the cost of billions of dollars, and we have people sitting homeless on the streets.
Right. No, and I think you guys you're a wonderful platform, because one of the issues that we have faced is we've become a disposable society.
Yes.
So sadly, there are entities out there who build multifamily, particularly rental for students, and with this mindset that we're going to build something that in 10 years is going to need to be broomed and we have to rebuild it.
Yeah,
I believe
crazy.
we build quality, and
Right.
and when I'm building a house, I anticipate that in 100 years from now they're going to be remodeling that
I
house.
want to see
Yeah.
American houses that were built 200 years ago built today.
I
Yes.
think that's an East Coast attitude that needs to make its way west,
Yes.
Yes.
which is wonderful.
Yes,
All right.
exactly.
Well, thank you for indulging us with that. So, I have a question that I'd like to ask, which I think you will have a wonderful answer to, and that is, what are some of the things that our pro listeners with small and medium-sized businesses should be focused on to find continued success as we approach 2019?
I think that it's really important to figure out what you do well and really focus on that. And we talk a lot of times about, be better than your competition. No, be unique. Figure out what you do that no one else really does well or is doing at all.
Right.
And then focus on that and do the very best you can. I happen to be a design builder, remodeler.
As are we, so we're in the same
are
business.
we.
Yeah. So we're design build remodelers. We don't do high volume siding. We don't do high volume windows. We don't do that sort of thing. But what we do is design build for kitchens and baths and room additions or whole house remodeling. And we love it.
Right. And if you're smaller, don't start, I'm going to build a house.
Right.
Start with something small. I love remodeling.
Yeah.
That's really
I
the
can
best
see
way
because your eyes sparkle when you said it. Yeah.
It's the best way to enter the industry.
It really
and
is.
also, as you've been talking, I can feel you have a hand on the industry because you say things in such a way that I know you're knowledgeable about those details.
Yeah, staff is great, and we know a lot of professional trade associations, and they all have their staff.
Right.
They have their CEOs, and they have the team of staff people that are the moving parts.
Right.
But it's refreshing when you have
To see an
someone
officer.
that's a member of the board or an officer that is in the trenches that can speak to all of the moving parts associated with what it is we do and how to best make that better through education and trade shows and legislation and that sort of thing.
We got to move on. Now on a more project-based level, okay? On a more project-based level, what are some of the newer trends in remodeling that you think we should become more familiar with so that we can offer our customers options they may not have considered?
That's an interesting one.
I think every modeler should be really aware of aging in place, universal design, living in place, whatever you want to call it. We are an aging population.
You're looking at a couple of them right here. Yeah.
And it's not even simply where we are with the baby boomers, but baby boomers have become, they were caregivers of their children. They're now becoming caregivers of their parents.
Right.
And our homes.
And soon our children will become our caregivers.
Right.
Yeah.
And the cost of assisted living or having to move into one of those types of facilities is so prohibitive that the longer you can prevent it, the longer that you can stay in your own home or that your parents can come and move in with you, it's really important. We are truly turning into that multi-generational society where our kids live with us, they leave, they come back. Our parents now need to come back. The important thing is that remodelers understand what it takes to make a house livable.
Yeah. And what's exciting, Joanne, is that today accessibility does not need to look like a service station bathroom.
And that's why remodelers need education.
And as a matter of fact, I think some of the most exciting projects that we're producing are accessible projects that are just gorgeous.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
They look so luxurious. They feel that way.
All right. Now let's talk about your tenure as chair of NAHB Remodelers and what your priorities are as we get into the final quarter of 2018. What is it that you want to get through the door before the ball drops in Times Square?
I want Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Well, actually, I get to go a little longer than that.
Okay.
We go until the IBS show. So.
Okay, we're running your
Don't worry, you'll be reelected.
We're running your reelection campaign.
No, that's okay. I got to get back to running my business.
Yeah, I know. It takes. People think this is all glory, but it takes a
It's a
tremendous
lot of
amount
work.
of energy.
It's a lot
and it
of
takes you
hard
away
work,
from your
isn't it?
business.
Yeah.
And we thank you for your service to our industry.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
But
Thank
what
you
do you
very
want to
much.
accomplish before your term ends?
I want every one of my members to understand the value of the educational component of NAHB remodelers. We have a ton of resources available to them, instantaneous, like on-demand video kind of thing. I want all of them to realize they're not out there by themselves. I know it's hard. We're in the field.